Hi everybody and welcome back. I found the position and here we go. So the video of today is a little update of what I have here. Is basically, as you can understand, I took it up some models I have from the Beta Montecarlo, famous Beta Martini Montecarlo, and indeed one is an original box from the 80s with the Esci box, Esci original box, and I found this model a little bit ago, little bit of time ago, and it was an original one that I found for 50 euros. I priced at the time, but there have been a time where this model, this even more this crystal version, was extremely rare by the collectors, because there was a legend, as I said already in my videos, which now I think is not referred to this kit. It can be, it is related, it can be that it's true, but it's related to the shorter version, because Esci back in time made two different kits of this Lancia Beta Montecarlo. One was the endurance version, the turbo version here, and the other one was the sprint car in the short configuration. So basically what I would like to do it here is to make a comparison between the original Esci mold and the freshly reissued model from L, which basically is absolutely the same identical model. We will see now what's inside the box. You already will find the review of this model on my channel, and as I already said, this was probably one version that modelers didn't like so much, because you have basically the featuring of the transparent body. It was an idea surely coming from the 80s, where you can see the inner part of the body, but the model itself can end not that nice. I mean, at the end you will have a transparent model with Martini stripes over. I don't think so. I mean, it's not so interesting stuff. As usual, this model had very poor packaging for the time, so everything was placed together, so the transparent part, the clear parts were all together, and it was also very easy to lose details like the wheels. They were not nice wheels, but it's something that back in time, also today, is quite a big problem. If you don't have the tires, it's quite difficult to find something suitable. Nothing is impossible, of course, but it's important to have everything together. And this is an issue that I found also in the other kit. They still didn't provide any bag, any small bag. This is something really stupid, but they should do like all the Asiatic company do, from Tamiya, from Nunu Platz, from all this company, just to place them in a little envelope of plastic bag, where you are sure that they will not get loose around the box. So basically there is already a review about this model on my channel. Nothing more to say. It's a decent kit. It's not that super nice kit and so on. It was something that you have to figure it out when it was developed by the company. So Esci made this in the early 80s, I think 82, 83, something like that, because the original car was from 1980, 1981, to have an idea. And this was the version racing at Le Mans in the Martini color. And one point which I wanted to do in this video was to make a comparison between the standard decal sheet that you can find inside the box. So this is the original one provided in the Esci kit. I checked if the camera is spotted on. I hope so, because I don't know if I'm talking along with the wall. So this is the original one made by Esci back in time, and this is the fresh new item which I just took from Spot Model. Very nice, very good shop, where you can find online a lot of details. They have been made by several companies, but a very good idea that I found on the Calcas decal is that they avoid to print the red stripe on the Martini. Usually the Martini stripe have to be placed in something like this. They are cut in some way, so you have to find your own way, but there is constantly some parts, as for example the edges here, or the livery ends here, where it became a little bit critical, so, or if you cut completely, but the decal risks to be one piece over the other. So it was a typical 80s solution. In my opinion, of course, the best solution ever will be to cut it away, the red part, to paint the red stripes under. You don't have neither this big issue, because they are quite easy, so you don't have to be in a so precise work to repaint the red stripe, just something in the area, be a little wider, in the way that you can game a little with the positioning of the decal on the body. and the same from the front end, and the result will be when the red is painted will be absolutely nicer than a decal made this way, you know. And consider anyway that the original decal sheet provided in the Esci box was a quality one, you know. If you look carefully at the names of the company that made this one, it was anyway realized by Cartograph. Cartograph, that is the address, Quarto Inferiore, Bologna. Cartograph back in time ridiculously didn't had a good fame with magazine and reviewers of decals, because they were not so skilled modelers, so they were unable to use in the proper direction both the decal sheet made by Cartograph and the decal sheet made from Zanchetti, that was the other big company making decals inside all the Esci, Taleri boxes and so on. If you look carefully in some old boxes that you collect at home, you can also find them printed by Zanchetti, Buccinasco. Zanchetti was another great producer. In my opinion, these are in a way very quality decal sheet. The limit of the decal itself, if you compare to a freshly printed decal, this was a reissue that they just made from the Calcas, was out of stock for many years, because you know when you don't have the model, it's also nonsense to have accessories for a not existing model or an ultra rare item, you know. But now that the model is back on track, we have many companies that made the decal sheets, and I just took from Spot Model. Looks so nice. So nice advertisement they place inside their box. They know that people like it. Porsche GT3 RS, very very nice printed. And if you look carefully, the main difference that you can spot, I already opened this one and then I saved it inside to see if first of all the logos were focused on, and they are absolutely spotted on. Not in the way that the cartograph is wrong, but the main difference is that the fine details, for example, the Martini logo was famous to have a golden stripe around the real logo, you know. I don't know if back in time the original Martini decal sheet had also a perfectly printed decal in gold. They made it in yellow, but this was a limit of the printing of back in time, because they had very very serious limit in printing silver and printing gold. You know, you need a special pigment in the process when they make decal, you know. Is always have been a very very tricky part in the decals. That's why many simply replace it with a bright yellow part that looks like a gold. Instead, in the brand new sheet from the Calcas, the decal sheet is absolutely perfect and printed in gold, you know. It's also a little bit different in size, and I'm not that sure that this is wrong and this is right, because I suspect that when this company made it, the Calcas decal is something that have been made, I think, few years ago. It's a company that is on the market since, I guess, something like 10 years, you know. They also had a nice sticker inside. Also, Spot Model give you a nice sticker of the company. It's cool when they had stickers like back in time, you know. And I am not so sure that it resembles completely the original livery. I suspect that this one from Cartograph was even better, you know, because they were quite precise. And I remember that I worked with Esci. The guy making model at Esci was Mr. Dino Coppola, was an ex-paratrooper from Italian Army. He was an incredible businessman, you know. I had the opportunity to work with him for some years back in time when I had the shop in Milano, and it was one of the first company which I started to make cooperation with, you know, to build up model for the local expo, for the model expo that they had for dealer and retailers, you know. So I was one of their modelers, so I have so many tales around Esci that I still remember. The guy was absolutely skilled, and I remember that about decal, he was absolutely spotted on. Remember that Esci company was the first ever company that had the idea to produce extra decal sheets, you know. Today is absolutely normal. You don't like the version on the box, like this Heller one, you don't like the livery inside, you can choose aftermarket decals. But back in time there was nothing, you know. It was just Esci that started to keep available by their own the external decal sheet, because they know that anyway modelers will like to buy stuff extra. There is still some company, you know, if you get in touch, they say, no, the decal sheet we just sell together with the kit. That is a stupid idea. You know, if people want to buy them, just sell them. Also Italeri do it with the spare parts. If you want to buy some very quality decal that now are provided inside some reissues made by Italeri, in my opinion, they are the nicest part of the reissues of back in time. Just buy for the decal sheet. Go on the website of italeri.com, and you will find the aftermarket service, which you can write an email and ask for a specific code of the decal sheet that you need. You will spend about something like 10 bucks, 15 bucks, something like that, but it's always in a price that is lower than an extra decal sheet. And you will have at home an ultra quality modern printed decal sheet. So it's a service that they do since many years. Right now, tomorrow, I think I will go to an expo we have in Stresa with over there is over 2,500 competitors, you know. It's very huge contest, you know. There is the best names of the European modeling, and I just missed the World Expo they made in Paris, just because for this type of expo I usually participate with my trucks, you know, and they are quite big and quite huge with the base under, so it's a little bit tricky to ask people to move this stuff if you don't go in person to this contest. That's why it was the main reason why I could not compete in the competition that they made in Paris the last summer, you know. But I really wanted to do it because I am sure that my models can at least take some prizes, you know. I don't know if really the best in class or the best whatever. The best is depending from the jury, you know. I've been a judge, so I know how it is the criteria to allow something to have really the best of the category. So it's a little bit different from what people thinks about that. And I'm sure anyway that my trucks can have my trucks can have absolutely some prizes and some good confirmation prices for the job I did, you know, and that's it. So this is basically an option. You see the car is fantastic. This is ultra famous, you know, driven by legends that are indeed Michele Alboreto, Eddie Cheever, and Carlo Facchetti. Carlo Facchetti is a name that if you follow my channel, you already hear about this Carlo Facchetti. Facchetti and Finotto were the two pilots and the makers of the Karma Ferrari from DDP Silverstone 1981 that I'm currently finishing in Sweden, and they were incredible. Also, this other livery, you know, they had Group 5 car, and this was a Martini Racing in Le Mans in 1981, but they had many different liveries on their vehicle, you know. Indeed, also the decal provided by Heller was an ultra rare livery they had on the Carlo Facchetti car. So it's the same stuff, it's the same pilot that were turning over, you know. At the time, both Michele Alboreto and Eddie Cheever were starting and competing in Formula 1 category. Eddie Cheever with Alfa Romeo, and Alboreto before started with Tyrrell and Ferrari. So it was the years, you know, 81, 83 is Alboreto in Tyrrell. So it was the years of the Formula 1 guys, you know. Carlo Facchetti was probably a little bit older compared to the other two guys, so I guess probably that was the reason, or barely money, you know, the reason why they did not compete seriously in Formula 1 categories, you know. But the car is absolutely stunning. As you can see, the classical typical number 65, this is absolutely a must to have, and I think it's very good, this idea, as I say, that the Calcas provided the decals separated, and you just have to paint the red part of the livery, you know. So, and as I say about the model, there is not so much to say about that. It's basically the same identical model that you will find inside. Here, does it last? Does it fall? It falls. It's basically the same identical model that you will find inside this recently reissued Heller box, which is quite wider, quite bigger. This is not a bad thing, you know, but there is a lot of room inside this box, you know. And what's inside is the typical new box from Heller. I don't remember if I made already one of the review of this model, because this is, I think, the 4 or the 5 that I bought both in Sweden and in Italy, because they have so many different liveries that, in my opinion, is absolutely worth it to have many kits, even more now that honestly they switched from a model where collectors start to ask for this type of box 80 euro, 90 euro, over 100 euro depending from the livery. The Alitalia one in the short configuration is still quite pricey. If that will not be reissued by somebody, and this we don't know. But I mean, this is a model that currently you can buy now. It's this video is made in May 2026. Is a model that costs 25 euros, $25 to have an idea, you know, and it's not that expensive. So my point is, I spend nearly much more in decals than in the kits itself. But once you have a kit, you just can go and make improving detail and so on, you know. They provide something like this. Is a modern looking, like you know, everything is a little more modern, little more colored, little more professional, little more modern times, you know, from Heller, which I really appreciate. This I appreciate a lot, you know, when you are working, something to advise the family or the people that you have around. Keep out, model building in progress, or come in. let me show you my model kits. You know, this is funny. You know, they place it inside every box that they remade. You know, and also here, as in the images you've seen before about the Martini decal stripe, is always me providing a plastic envelope, a plastic bag. This is stuff that costs nothing. You know, you buy bags of this envelope that cost nothing. You find it in airports. You know, but they guarantee you that the model will be protected and safe if something happens, like flooding, humidity, leaking of water, something that fall over, you know, and some liquid, I mean. And if the decal sheet is saved inside an ordinary plastic, you will be completely safe. You will be completely safe and no issues at all. So the model can be old, because about plastic is no problem, but about the decal sheet is a main issue, you know. As you can see here, the model, I see some picture of some guys that say that Heller made an horrible box and everything was wrapped and destroyed. My part, as you can see here, is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. There is no flawless, there is no foldering, there is no marks over it. This is still one box printed by Heller, you know, because back in time we had reboxing from the Esci mold made by Heller, and back in time they corrected, you know, the logo inside. I don't know if you can see in the camera, probably not, but there is the Heller logo inside, so you don't find the Esci logo like in the other box, you know. This is just a correction because it's a tag that they have on the mold of the model, so it's quite easy to correct or to cover, you know. So it's just for the Heller edition. This was probably the reason why they also wanted to reprint it. Probably they had the mold or another mold or a copy of a mold of the original one, you know. Same situation as we've seen before. The decals were not closed in a bag, as well as the same wheels. They look exactly the same, you know, with the ugly pattern from Esci of the 80s. You know, the pattern that you have on the tire is the same one that you will find in the Port 934, that you will find in BMW M1. So it's all the same type of tire that they had. This is coming from the idea of the Esci owner back in time, you know, because it was also co-owner of the Polysteel company making die casting 124 and 25 scale, which was personally focused on the wheels and tires, you know, not in the extreme level like we have today. Also, I have a freak, maybe a fetish for the wheels, you know. They have to be critical point is a part that in all the model, when they are ultra detailed with writing over, with the valve, with the pins, with the sticker, with the weights inside, it is a long work, you know, to make a quality wheels. But every time my eyes look at the model, I constantly spot on the wheels. If the wheels are well done, then it's absolutely a plus. It's something critical. Also, real car, you know, just talking with somebody that spent, I think this year I spent something like $5,000 in wheels, rims for the Toyota, for the BMW, for the Panda, for everything, you know, to buy new wheels, new tire, alloy wheels, metal wheels, steel wheels, and the snow tires, sprocket, everything. So it's a part that I like to spend money in, you know, and also in the model, it's a very, very critical part. As I say, the livery is something strange, because also this car, they don't mention which company made it, but you know, in France they have ultra quality decals, Carpenat decals, Virage decals, so there is millions not, but there is several company working in in uh, in decal printing, you know, and they always had very, very quality stuff. So the French collectors are famous to have quality stuff in that type of decal. The limit is, in my opinion, because I had back in time to work for with the decal sheet that I had to buy separately from Renaissance in the time when I made the Port 917 long tail in the Martini livery, you know, the silver car, the long 917 with the Martini stripes over, and that was a Renaissance sheet that arrived to me completely unfolded and without any type of plastic, and the decal sheet was indeed old. So when this material that is extremely sensitive take humidity, take aging, you know, in the box, in the storage place, they became rotten in quality, you know. And my decal sheet from Renaissance was terrible, but this doesn't mean that Renaissance have a terrible quality. It was my sheet, because my sheet was old, and when they are old, this is a typical problem that you will have with that. If you just, this is a tip that I would like to tell to everybody, just place them inside the closed, of course, envelope without holes and without anything at all. You will protect it from the air and from the external agents, so this is absolutely great. If you look carefully at this specific version, it's not that nice, it's very 80s, white car with red stripes, and I got a smile when I see the names of the pilot involved, because you see this is Finotto. Um, that was the other pilot in the Karma, so I constantly go to the Karma. That was Facchetti and Finotto, and this is just Finotto, and the other one from Martini you see was Facchetti, so they were both the same guys looking around. Then there is Giorgio Pianta, another very famous pilot, and then there is this name Sean, Giorgio Sean. Giorgio Sean is currently one of the biggest Italian collectors in real cars, you know. And I had, I cannot say the privilege, you know, but I had the opportunity to work with him because he's currently the owner of Yas Motorsport. So it's the company making the Honda NSX GT3 that I made in 124 scale. And in 2006, it was for a short time, you know, not that long, because I was refurbishing a big facility in Milano to make my modeling shop. So I needed the work, and he hired me like a truck driver. But I remember that Giorgio Sean was a collector of real cars, and I seen in person is part of his collector of cars, which now he probably moved completely somewhere around Alessandria in Italy. And it was a collector where you can see, I remember, very different types of Delta S4, including the first prototype, which I remember was just tubes and part in fiberglass like that, you know. And plus original Delta S4, plus you have the LC2 endurance car, LC1 which raced, this Beta Monte Carlo, and the couple of Stratos. This was the car which I seen in his facility when I was working at Jazz Motorsport. We are talking back of 2006, something like that. And yeah, he's a quite famous amateur pilot. It is people that is quite older than the other, you know, and never raced in Formula One. But for me, was one of my boss, you know. Just Sean was one of my boss. But this said, you know, this is just memory, my personal memories from the past. This livery I don't like that much, so I don't think I will use this decal sheet, even if it's anyway interesting because they provide a lot of little logo, a lot of light. For example, this Group 5 logo over here is quite nice, you know, to see. It's just the livery, the overall livery. If you see on the box art, you see it is not that eye-catching livery like the other one that we have seen. And indeed, for this model, I indeed took this one that, guess what, still driven by Facchetti Finotto, so the same guys again of the Karma 308. And this is much more nicer because it resembles the Italian flag, like gray, red and green, so it's much more aggressive. This is the decal sheet provided. I bought it from Spot Model, and it was made by reissued. Also they have very quality decal, you know. Something like that they place inside the little envelope, you know, with the Czech Republic flag, and quality is usually very good. I think it's the same identical stuff like printing decal service, I mean, that you will find inside the ECM boxes, you know, which I already worked in the past with, you know, in the 132 plane fighters from the First World War, and they were extremely good in quality. So also these decals are excellent, you know, in the overlook, in the final overlook, you know. And yeah, I think the nicest ever is this type of livery. If you Google for it, this Le Mans 1980 a private car, I think made it does DNF in the end of the race, but she was amazing. I mean, the livery was incredibly aggressive. There was something different, I think, in the front end, so you had to check carefully the picture, you know, because sometimes to improve aerodynamics or the airflow inside the car, they took away the front light, they took away some lamps, so it was a little bit different. There was some spotted difference on the car. And finally, what to say about the model? The model, as we said, is exactly the one that you've seen before, just with a different logo under. This time printed in white, at least for the body shell, but all the rest of the kit is absolutely identical to the Lancia we seen before from Esci. So basically the same identical kit. Last but not least, they listen to me. Some companies do, many other companies don't do. They also place the transparent part inside a little sheet of plastic, and this saves you from any kind of scratching of this critical part of the model. You know, I already have some scratch here, but it's a scratch on the plastic, on the envelope. Is not on the clear part inside. If I didn't have this plastic, probably this was something that I had to take care and take it away with some sand grip and all the blah 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 correct this stuff. So that's it, guys. This is the stuff that I achieved about this wonderful racer. And my tip is this: if you like the Group 5 car, they were extremely brutal, big wheels, big sound, nice races, you know. And there is millions of liveries, you know. In Sweden, I already took for this car the decal sheet to do the Beta Montecarlo with all the flag, with all the Lancia markings over in black and red, made by KMP. Don't know about the quality of that. Usually it is quite decent quality, but we will see. I hope that I will have the time to build up this stuff. And my tip is, if you like this model, don't miss it now. Take as much as you can. They will be available for some years, I think. So it will be just something that can drop down from the 25 euros and arrive maybe to 20, 1995, something like that. So if you have the opportunity, just take it more and more, because the car is absolutely a masterpiece. It's something that you will love so much in your collection. Then to build it up properly, we have to make other videos when I will build it up, because it requires a lot of taking care. There is some critical issues on this model, like the wheels, like the minor detail, like the radiator vents. So there is some work that you have to do, but the basic of the kit is absolutely great. So my tip is not to lose it and just collect it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.